moving on to some of the results that you've found from the survey, I guess those of us that are cloud computing evangelists would say that that cloud computing is changing the face of IT and forcing it to become or encouraging it to become more strategic and more partner in the business. What sort of results are you in the survey that confirm or otherwise that sort of hypothesis?
Yeah, the whole cloud computing topic was quite an interesting one. It came up as an area of focus in one of the questions where we asked people, out of this list of new and innovative things or items that you should be focusing on, where do you see cloud computing? It was interesting that about a third of the participants saw it as something that they should be focusing on in order to become more efficient and effective in the delivery of the service. Many of them still felt that there were security issues, there were stability issues that needed to be better understood before they went into it. But most of them could see that that was very much a way of the future. Having said that, there were lots of other things that they were putting as high priorities, so things like business intelligence and analytics came right at the top of the list. So one of the key things I think for CIOs is how do they provide data or information to the business that is actionable, because many executives have been telling us recently that they're flooded with information or data every day, and knowing what is the important stuff to be able to pull that out and make good decisions has been a big challenge. So CIOs were saying that that's a key area for them. And then the normal things that you would expect, like project delivery, risk and compliance in terms of ensuring a stable platform and so on.
So in terms of IT's role within the organisation and how that's changing, putting aside specifically the cloud computing effect, how are you seeing that change over time?
Well, it's quite interesting. Coming out of the study, we distilled that there are three roles that the CIO of today needs to play. So the first one is around making innovation real. And there's two elements to that. One is being what we call an able pragmatist, which is making sure that the needs of the business are met on a daily basis. But also being what we call an insightful visionary. So someone who can look out into the future and see what's on the horizon from a technology perspective, like cloud computing, and to be able to bring that to the senior management table and say, hey, we really need to get into this because this will give us an advantage. So that was the one thing. One element, making innovation real. Second element is around raising the return on investment of IT. So how do CIOs convince senior management team and boards of directors that the investment in IT is a good one, that they are getting a good return on their investment, but on the other side of the coin, making sure that things like total cost of ownership and the efficiency and effectiveness with which the IT service is provided continues to be focused on maintaining costs and so on. So that was number two. Number three is all about expanding the business impact. So in this respect, a lot of CIOs are now focusing much more on how they participate as a fully fledged member of the senior management team, usually reporting to the CEO, in business strategy. So taking your IT hat off and becoming a member of the senior management team to fully participate in business strategy decisions. On the other side of the coin, there is also the issue of how they continue to run a professional IT function. So there's those three core roles, but there's two ends of the spectrum for each one that they're having to sort of do a balancing act with.
Sure. I guess in terms of the work that you do here around strategy, is it fair to say that there's a bit of pushback in terms of innovation from IT being risk averse, and how are you seeing that risk aversion changing over time?
Well, it's interesting that some of the conversations we've had with CIOs, either one-on-one or in groups, as a result of this study, is that many of them don't see that IT should be separate from the business. They see that as an artificial sort of conversation. They much prefer to see IT as an integral part of the business. And indeed, there's several comments about, hey, we don't talk about IT projects anymore. They're business projects enabled by IT. So it's very much the business identifying what their needs are, engaging in a conversation with the IT specialist, if you like, who can then come up with some solutions to help them meet those business needs. So I think there's much more awareness now by the IT folk who have perhaps, that's all they've known in their professions, that they need to get much more business savvy, better understand how the business works so they can have those meaningful conversations. Likewise, I think there's a recognition by business people that they need to better understand what IT can do for them.
I think it's probably fair to say that it's an ongoing process and it's a slow process, and IT's, there's a lot of tension there, and it can take a significant amount of time before these things are resolved.
Yeah, I agree, and I think the CIOs of today need to take a leadership role in that. So they need to be sort of flying the flag, if you like, in treading the fine line between both camps.
Yeah, no, I guess the difference is that looking back at cloud computing again, one thing cloud computing does is removes a lot of the stuff that IT would have originally done.
Yep.
And that is a threat to a lot of IT folks, and it's sort of dealing with that threat and dealing with their concerns and being able to separate what's a valid concern and what is just a concern out of fear for
the unknown.
For the unknown.
No, you're absolutely right. And so I think in the next 5 years we're going to see significant changes in terms of the capabilities required of the IT function. We're going to, as I said before, we're going to see people who can comfortably tread that path of understanding technology in a detailed way, but also translate that effectively into business language, business and meeting business needs. And so the makeup of IT departments, I think, is going to change quite significantly. So there's a change management issue, if you like, that goes with that around how do CIOs start dealing with that now.